Hello everyone and welcome to the HAVAS SUPER-STREAM. I'm Greg James, I'm the CEO of HAVAS Media Network North America, and I'm here live at CES for our first day of programming. Live streaming and content in 2025 is more important than ever before. With so much happening at CES, the goal of this live stream is to simplify it for you. Deliver the highlights, the insights, and the innovation all in real time. You've got no FOMO required. From exclusive interviews with industry leaders, cutting-edge demos, and the ultimate TLDR of the key trends, we've got you covered. CES isn't just a stage, it is the stage. This really is where creativity, media, and technology come to life and set the tone for the year ahead. And through this live stream, we're bringing you the best of it. There's over 100,000 people from the marketing and advertising industries here in Vegas to explore the future of the industry. So that's what we're going to do together. At HAVAS, convergence is the core of what we do. Creativity sparks innovation, media amplifies it, and technology brings it to life. This live stream is about making that easy for you to access the highlights and insights in real time. This year's theme is super. Supercomputing, superconductor, super intelligent, superhuman, superwoman. We're at the cusp of being able to do almost anything. And at that intersection of possibility and reality sits all kinds of opportunity. So let's dive in. Share the stream, join the conversation, let's get inspired, let's inspire each other. Together, we're shaping the future through convergence. Let's get super.
So I'm here on the floor with the CEO of Realbotix, Andrew Kegel. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
So we're going to see some really exciting tech, but first Andrew's going to tell us a little bit about Realbotix, the problems it solves, and really how this solution is at the cutting edge of AI-powered real experiences. Andrew, tell us a little bit about Realbotix.
Yeah, so Realbotix is an early stage AI and robotics company. We're publicly traded, and our goal is to make robots that feel and look human. So whereas a lot of our peers are making robots that look very robotic and are sort of meant to replace physical human labor, our robots have a different purpose. They're meant to look very human, more friendly, and they're here to sort of provide personal interaction, social occasions. You can picture them working in places like a senior's home or for marketing purposes. So we have a very different use case, and we believe we have the most realistic robots on the planet.
So I love those. Talk us through some of those use cases in a bit more depth. We've got everything from companionship to kind of building brand experiences, being avatars for brands. So talk us through those.
Yeah, so look, robotics is a very new industry. It's not like we're setting up a donut shop and we know exactly who our client base is going to be. But the areas that we have been selling to are, for example, marketing. People will buy these robots, program them to talk about their product or their brand. Because we can customize the AI, you could have the robot actually talking about your product, and as you can see around you, a robot attracts a pretty big crowd. So imagine the robot having your brand t-shirt on it, and you can go up and speak to your product. So it elevates your brand. So that's one use case. Think about it at a hotel, acting as a concierge. What's the best restaurant close by? Can you book us a reservation? Other use cases, really like healthcare is a place we're targeting. There's a huge loneliness epidemic. You know, adolescents and senior citizens suffer from loneliness. So can you imagine our robot maybe at a senior's residence, going from room to room, has a memory, so it remembers who it's speaking to. Hi Ben, how are you? How are you feeling today? Is there anything you want to communicate back to the nurse or the doctor? Tell me about your family. It's there to sort of provide companionship. So our robots really specialize and excel in social interaction. And that's also where our AI focuses. We're not building AI to graph this on the x-axis and this on the y-axis. Our AI is really meant to be a partner, a friend. Sort of what we grew up seeing in Star Wars and all these places, right? Like we've become so, robots are meant to be our friends, and we want them to look friendly.
Love that. Love the applications in healthcare, companionship for seniors and adolescents as well. You mentioned the loneliness epidemic that really this kind of application can help to solve for. And what I'm really interested in is we're seeing a lot about agentic AI, agents AIs. Yep. That's not necessarily a very physical human experience, whereas this is a human experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, imagine walking into a theme park or a museum and being greeted by a robot that can tell you which direction to go. It can give you, directions. Where I would like to go and see this part of the museum. Let me explain to you how to get there. So we can program them. That's, again, the special thing about our company is lifelike robots with programmable AI.
And I think that's, that's core to the innovation here, is that combination of that physical experience with that AI-driven power.
Exactly.
So it is a very popular booth. We were really pleased to get some time with you. There's lots of folks who come to see this.
Yeah. So you're going to be talking to Matt soon, who's sort of our operations person. He'll give you some demonstrations. He's a big key designer, but can talk to you about what makes our robots unique. And so in the robotics space, one of the hardest things to do is to create facial expressions.
Yeah.
And what you're going to see in a little bit is how our robots have micro cameras embedded in the eyes that can make eye contact with you and follow you around. And we're going to show you what that looks like in the computer so you can see what's going on in the robot's eyes. And so we've actually built our technology to recognize not just your face, but you're eating an apple and it can say to you, oh, how's the apple you're eating? So these are all types of innovations that we're creating to make them feel more lifelike, more interpersonal, as opposed to the type of robot where you're like, go iron my shoe, or go pick up my shoes, or go do this. We're not making them to replace physical human labor. They're here to be companions, to help elevate social events. We make the joke that you could take one of our robots as your date to a wedding. That would be a big hit probably. So, but yes, that's kind of our goal. So I think we're really excelling in that area, and we're excited as to where the company's going to go. We're still early stages. Everything is manufactured in the USA, and we make everything in Las Vegas. So I think it's a very cool company that we're working on.
So made here in the USA, in Nevada, in Las Vegas.
That's correct.
And it's brilliant. You talked about machine recognition, the cameras sort of being able to see things. A really fascinating use of kind of AI all the way through the experience, a real AI power.
Well, we're one of the only companies that is focused on the hardware and the software, and we're taking a very different approach. So whereas, again, our AI peers and our robotic peers are looking to replace physical and intellectual tasks, we're trying to create things that you can use in social settings.
Yeah, they're doing sort of discrete, very specific use cases.
Yeah.
Here you're solving for a social interaction.
Well, yeah, like I said, we have the most realistic robots I think around, but also what makes our robots unique is they're all modular, so we can take the same robotic engine and replace the face within 10 seconds and you have a whole different character.
Yep.
That's patented and unique to us. We have the most realistic skin technology. That's also unique to us.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of positive R&D that's gone into this. So we're excited for all the different use cases.
Yeah, I mean that modularity of design, both in the appearance, but also the programmability of the robots themselves.
That's right.
So very exciting tech, which I think we're going to see a demo of, and we're going to talk to your CEO a little bit more about.
He's going to walk you through the 3 models that we have on display here, and you'll get to see a little bit more about these robots can do.
So Matthew McCullen, COO, Chief Operating Officer of Realbotix. Thank you, Andrew. He's heading off to a very, very popular booth here. Lots of folks around.
Yes.
Talk us through a little bit more on the tech, and you're going to show us some of the models now.
Yeah, so this here is Aria.
Hey,
She's
Aria.
kind of our flagship robot platform. She has all the features. She has a motorized base, full body, torso movement, hands, arms, neck, head, the whole thing. And we really kind of built her to have all the things that we potentially could offer in a product.
Yeah.
And she can do all kinds of animations. She can wave. You can talk to her. She runs on our AI.
Yep.
She will also be able to run on third-party AIs
Yep.
when we release the software that goes along with her.
Yep.
Right here behind you, this is a modular robot. Her name is Melody.
Yep.
And we built her to
Hello,
be,
Melody.
She's shy. We built her to be more modular for travel,
Yep.
for easy shipment, for example, for a thing like this.
Yep.
If you wanted to have a robot representing your brand, you could have her wearing a t-shirt with the logo on it.
Yep.
And she breaks down into components that can easily be shipped,
Yep.
easy to transport, and there's different versions. We have a standing version, a seated version, and a desktop version.
So love that modularity of design.
Yes.
and very kind of realistic features as well as movement. Right, we're seeing some of this movement at the moment. It's a very real physical experience.
Yeah, that's really the whole point, and I think one of the things that makes us stand out is that we're really pushing that envelope of realism.
Yeah.
I believe that AI and humans can interact more realistically if the robot is more realistic.
Yeah.
A lot of other companies are going down the other route, the C-3PO route.
Yeah.
But we really want to make the robots be inviting to interact with and feel and act like humans.
Love that. So we heard from your CEO about these were programmable, and
Yes.
you're telling us as well that there's going to be potentially third-party models in the
Yes,
future.
correct.
So this is almost like a kind of new platform almost in robotics we're kind of seeing. Or
It
is that
is.
too much to say?
Yeah, so we're not just hardware.
Yeah.
We're not just software. We're doing both,
Yeah.
but we also recognize that there's a lot of developers out there who would probably love to get their hands on a simple platform for robotics
Yeah.
to use for their own AI. So that's a super important feature that we're pushing.
I love that. I mean, we talk about convergence and converged. It's key to our proposition and approach. And I think this is one of the moments where we're seeing that conversion of hardware, of software, of experience.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I do think it's a very exciting time we're in. Obviously, in the last few years, with the advent of LLMs
Yeah.
and generative AI, it's very
All coming together.
Yeah, it's
so I think
very cool.
you're gonna show us under the hood a little bit now. Is that right?
Under the hood.
Yeah.
What do you want to see?
We're gonna look at under.
Oh, well, over here we can kind of have a look. Let me put this down.
So let's go and look at some of the underlying tech here.
So
Very exciting.
this actually is our vision system,
Yep.
and you can see here that this robot is actually able to see faces. She will be able to recognize expressions.
So this is what we would think of as like classical machine learning. It's,
Yeah. So these feeds can then go into whatever vision models you may have at your disposal.
Very
and
cool.
she can recognize objects, she can recognize individuals.
And we're almost seeing what the robot is seeing, what the machine model is seeing now. So just talk us through these.
Yeah, so basically these are just different feeds going to from her eye
Yep.
into the system. So this one here is obviously recognizing all the people in the scene, and then it's choosing who's it going to look at, like who's most forefront, who should I stare. She's obviously staring at me. I don't know why, but then we
She's
have
fascinated
a
by
third,
it.
yeah, we've got a third one that would actually be used to define
Yeah.
a little bit more detail about the face that she's looking at. For example, he looks sad, he looks happy, maybe, he looks tired, and then that can go into the AI. She can say, you look tired, maybe you should take a nap.
So you're doing emotional recognition here, which is allowing you to kind of see how people are feeling, what
Yes.
they're showing, and then build that into the response from
Exactly. So the
robot
goal,
itself.
this is our prototype, and the goal this year will be integrating this with these full platform robots, so that we're able to take not only the audio input from talking to her, but also the visual input, which brings another layer of the robot and the AI's ability to interact with a human being.
That's fascinating. So we've seen some of this technology used when we're looking at creative. We're trying to see how people might react to content they're seeing, but you're taking this forward and building this experience out.
Yes.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. But this has been absolutely fascinating. Do you want to give us a quick view of the roadmap of the future, if you can, before we sign off?
So as I was mentioning, this year's super exciting because we're going to be integrating several different systems into one unified system. So the vision will be integrated with our new AI, and we have a new controller for the actual robotic hardware.
Love that.
So that the head and the body will work together more fluidly. And thirdly, we'll be introducing our standalone AI system, as well as the ability for developers to plug into our systems with their own LLM models.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for spending some time with us here at the Realbotix booth. This has been fascinating.
Yeah, my
and
pleasure.
A great experience.
Anytime.
Okay, so we're here to talk about the rise of the supermarketer, a new type of leader who really understands that today's challenges require integration between creativity, technology, and marketing strategy to really deliver on consumer demands and expectations today. These leaders aren't experts at just one thing. They don't just focus on one side of the coin. They're experts at pretty much everything, and at the same time have to drive collaboration internally and help their organizations to transform and evolve. So quite a lot on their plates. Adobe obviously has a long history of empowering transformation through technology. How would you say Adobe is specifically helping these supermarketers?
Sure, in a host of ways, but I think one of the most important ways that we're helping the supermarketers, and you have to own that term because
You do.
we work with you guys and you are a supermarketer. But one of the most important ways that we're helping is helping customers know their end consumers. So we're living in a very fickle time, and brand loyalty, as you know, is very hard. And just recently in your HAVAS study, I think there was a number that 74% of consumers wouldn't care if brands went out of business. I mean, that's hard. You're talking to the majority of the market that is really like, okay, I'll just move on. So how do you create that supermarketing to make sure that you don't fall into those 74% of people that could let brands go out of business, right? So what we really like to do is help brands understand customers, understand their journeys, and then optimize their re-engagements, right? Customers want to know that they are loved, they are known, and they're provided with content that's going to be interesting to them. So whether it's from a data perspective and we're collecting information on the consumer journey so that we can provide instruction on where to put the next step in that journey, or whether it's now on the creative side, because with AI, we have an opportunity in real time to generate creatives that makes the end customer feel known. So we're tailoring experiences for people that are working with your brands and buying from your brands and making them feel known and appreciated as a customer.
Yeah, that 74% stat is terrifying. And we say that all marketers should have it printed, maybe like framed on their desk to look at every morning and really drive everything they do. Because it's, you know, it's got to be front of mind the whole time.
We should get the tattoos and hand them out when people come in.
I think it's the age of empowerment for consumers in that regard, and their expectations have never been higher, and that is why it is so important for us as marketers to align ourselves with similarly minded people in terms of agility, in terms of the ability to turn on a heel and create something net new. And it's why we're so excited about the partnership that we have with HAVAS and the very extensive partnership that we have with Adobe as well, who is helping us take charge of all of the incredible data that consumers give us as a hotel company, and to make sure that we are providing those very personalized experiences for
You
them.
talk about empowerment, right? And I think that's really the key point there. If people are giving you their data, they want to get something in return, and that something in return comes in giving them that tailored experience, right? And they don't want to wait until the next day or even the next hour. They want to register now, just like you just asked everyone to register for Wyndham, and they expect something in return.
The return piece, I think, is so critical, and there's such a huge opportunity from a loyalty perspective. Sarah very, very thoughtfully introduced Wyndham Rewards. It is our award-winning loyalty program that has more than 115 million loyalty members as part of it. Now, what the heck do you do when you have that many people who are participating in the loyalty program? It's why we're doing CJA. It's why we're doing this journey orchestration, because we want to make sure that whatever the journey state is, whatever stage people are in terms of their travel booking, whether or not they are even part of our rewards program, that we can be there with them with a message, with a compelling offer for them, to get them to come and stay with us, not just once, but to come back and stay with us again is the ultimate goal.
It's a great segue into talking a little bit more about you and your role. And you're going to hate me doing this, but I have the pleasure of working with Marissa almost every day. And she would never call herself this, and as you heard, she doesn't like the term, but she absolutely is a super marketer. She has skills across the entire marketing ecosystem, and actually was in her role for what, 3 months before you called an integrated pitch? You looked at how it was working, went, no, this is not good enough. We need all these skill sets together. We need real integration to really push the brand where it needs to be today. Can you tell us a bit more about your role and how it has evolved over the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been at Wyndham for 16 or 17 months now, and really I was brought in to drive disruption in our marketing efforts because of everything that we're talking about here right now, this idea that everything that we have known as marketers, all of the processes that we have followed have changed. And as a hotel company, we invest quite a bit in technology. We've invested more than, I think you probably know this better than anyone, more than $300 million in technology over the past 6 years, which is no small amount, yes. But we're doing that because we recognize the importance of creating a frictionless experience for our guests. We're also 100% franchised as an organization. So similar to the guest experience, we want our owners to have a seamless experience. We want to make it easier for them, which is why we are investing so heavily in technology. We've launched something called Wyndham Connect, which actually is a virtual AI assistant that allows days before you check in to help make sure that you have everything that you need to have the best possible experience when you arrive. You can bypass the check-in desk entirely. We were first to do it in the economy and mid-scale space, so huge investment in technology. My job is to make sure that the investment that we're making, all of the things that we are learning about our guests and prospective guests, is translating all the way down, not just to our owned platforms, but to our consumer-facing marketing efforts as well.
Just a few things. Just a few things there.
I did say exhausting, but exciting.
Okay, we're going to talk a bit more about customer experience, and I'm going to start this with an audience question. Who here in the room has ever ordered an Uber and been annoyed when it is 6 minutes away? Yes. Pretty much all of us, right? So, I love this example because we are marketers, but we're also consumers. And I think it's a great way of demonstrating how our expectation of brands and immediacy is higher than it's ever been before. Arthur, talk to us a bit about this. Why is this happening? Why is this shift? And what can we as marketers do about it?
Yeah, again, the customer sophistication. I mean, I think your example of the app experience that's anticipatory has become, an expectation for most users. CX is at the core. I think it's the key differentiator for the best brands when they get that right. And the flexibility, the fluidity to be able to change that experience based on who is visiting that entity. And the fact that that's cross-channel and in-store. The technology is caught up to allow us to do these sorts of things. So the competitive space is very crowded. There are multiple challenger brands probably being birthed daily. So, you have to stand out, and how you can stand out is what's within your control, which is that experience that isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's an experience that's tailored and curated for each individual. Even if you can get the segments right, you got a fighting chance of being very successful. So, selfishly, because I work within the CX group, but I believe that UX and experience and frictionless, seamless experiences across channel are critical to brand survival.
Yeah. And Denise, how do customer journey analytics play into this?
So they're critical.
Yep.
And, you were talking about how, there's so many brands being birthed, right? And I think of it as noise. And customers, as I said earlier, they want to feel known, right? But it's not enough to just know them. So journey analytics are great, but it's not just about mapping the journey and understanding, but what do you do next, right? So Adobe's journey orchestration allows you to really create a transformative experience, an experience that elicits emotion, right? Because you have to rise above the noise as a brand and be memorable. It's not just enough to shuffle everyone through the checkout process or the ordering an Uber process, but how do you make it so after that process someone says, oh, wait, that was good, I should do that again, right? So journey orchestration is table stakes. What Adobe really adds value with is the data that comes out of that, and then how we use that data to create the next best step.
Hi, I'm Arthur Fullerton, Global CTO for HAVAS CX, day one here at CES in Las Vegas. We just finished the Supermarketer panel with our partners at Adobe and our partners at Wyndham Hotels. We spoke about the evolution of the modern marketer and their need to have an understanding of data, technology, and experience, and how Adobe technology is really empowering that for Wyndham. It was a great panel, very insightful. I think a lot of people got benefit out of it. So here at CES, we're really seeing the bleeding edge of innovation and technology beyond consumer electronics. There's a reason why you're seeing a presence across a lot of enterprise technology organizations here. it's really an opportunity to see what's next and get on the sort of front lines of that and incorporating that into your organization and our organization and our partners that we work with day to day.
Hi, I'm Dara Bush from Havas PR North America, and I'm here with Delio Trazzi from Nuance Audio, the newest innovation from EssilorLuxottica. So thank you for joining us. Hello.
Hi, Dara, everybody. Pleasure being here and introducing you to Nuance Audio today.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about the products. Give us a little bit of a tour here. I'll hand this to you so you can.
Thank you. Well, this is one of the real biggest news of the company. It's a pair of smart glasses which are integrating a software as a medical device. So built into it, there are computing which is really delivering this unique capability of hearing assistance for people that have a mild to moderate hearing loss. The project is actually coming with two different designs, beautiful, elegant, sleek frames in two different color variants, black or burgundy. And I think it's the right time to show you how they work. So
let's do it. Let's go in.
So as said, we can have a demo today and a real life experience of how the product works. So feel free to put them on.
So just to start from the beginning, this is the charger, right?
Exactly.
So this is how you charge the glasses.
Exactly. This is a charging pad. Again, simple, minimal
and it
design.
Magnets to it. So
magnetic charging. Once you put them on, you just have to press and hold the switch on button for a couple of seconds.
Okay, I found it. I'm ready.
All right. Tell me when they're on. All right.
On.
So as simple as that. As said, in this elegant design.
Wait a minute. Like what happens in a matter of seconds is amazing. So what are you looking at on your phone? You're looking at?
I can show the real user experience that people get when they have the product on and in their hands. So basically, it's super simple in order to really make the user experience as simple as possible. Being an over-the-counter hearing aid, people can select between 4 different presets, which are simple configurations corresponding to specific scenarios of the audiogram curves. When you have an hearing loss, of course, you have an audiogram and you start losing certain frequencies. So we want to address that problem, especially for people with mild to moderate hearing loss, as said. And from the app, you can simply control the preset, choose the one that fits best your needs from A, B, C, D.
As it changes just slightly.
Exactly.
But this is amazing. Wait, I just have to stop for a second. What people don't realize that the glasses are no heavier than regular glasses, right? They feel like regular glasses. They're comfortable, but what it does is I've never worn a hearing aid, but it amplifies the voices in such a way that is so subtle, but there. It's amazing.
Indeed, happy to hear that. Besides that, of course, you can control the volume, but most importantly, you can switch and decide between 2 different audio modes. So now we are on the frontal audio mode that if we go and have a look also here, it's basically probably one of the biggest and most unique point of differences of this product. Why? Because through a beamforming technology, we're allowing users to hear what they see. What does it mean? That depending on where you're pointing at with your face, having a product on your face, you can decide what you want to amplify in terms of sound. However, you can also select a different audio mode, which is an all-around. So even if you're not pointing at me, in this case, everything is going to be amplified.
Right, so slight nuances and slight nuances. Look at that. Name of the company. But yeah, it changes just so slightly in all the different modes, and you can hear the difference, when you move.
Exactly. There are different use cases scenarios. So for example, now we are in a conversation, you want to hear my voice specifically, so you want to say more focus on the other person. While, for example, if you're walking on the street, you want to have more control on the surroundings. So maybe in that case, you would prefer to go with an all-around functionality. But going back to the user experience, it's not only the audio mode, which is really something interesting, but also the product is capturing the sounds through the microphones located in the frontal part of the device, and through its software and computing, it's on the one side reducing the background noise, not cancelling, because it's important to keep in mind that we are delivering an open ear experience, and amplifying what matters to you. So now the background noise reduction is set to high, but if we switch to low, now you should have...
It sounds like an audience.
Exactly. You should have a better perception of the entire background noise.
Is anybody else doing this? I mean, like, I've walked around CES, and honestly, this is so revolutionary. I don't see anybody else doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we are really proud to say that we are the first delivering this kind of experience on a pair of eyeglasses, and in this way addressing really the key barriers for people to adopting hearing aids. Why? Because first of all, we're delivering something invisible, so an hearing solution into a pair of glasses.
Right.
Secondly, it's so comfortable that you forgot.
It is. It's not heavy. It's comfortable. There's no. It feels like you're wearing a regular pair of glasses. You would never know that there's a hearing mechanism in there to make everything crystal clear.
Exactly, and then having the microphones on this specific form factor of a pair of glasses, the directionality and the beamforming technology that we were pointing at before, it's really highly performing on this device. So again, very proud.
Very, very cool. Well, I can't wait to see this in stores. Where will we be able to buy these glasses?
So currently we are in the process of FDA approval because it's going to be a medical device, and hopefully we get it soon. So in terms of distribution model, we are aiming for an open distribution model. So obviously doors, retail doors. Yeah, retail doors of EssilorLuxottica, but also we're open to wholesale of both the optical world, so optician with their practices, and we're also partnering with key players of the audiology world.
Well, you better watch out, because I'm going to run out of here with these glasses, and you're going to have to chase me down. They're amazing. So thank you.
Dara. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
We are live from CES 2025 doing the digital health floor tour, and I'm here with Pat from Opella. So I just want to ask Pat a few questions as we were doing the tour and discovering all the greatest tech. Pat, tell me, what are you the most excited about this year at CES?
First of all, it's just great to be here. This is my second year being here, and it's fun to see the advancements from some of the partners that we saw last year. For me, I'm actually very excited to be here in the AARP Age Tech space. It's actually a partner from a publisher side that we have a relationship with, and I just really appreciate the mission that they have of helping startups, all towards the mission of helping older citizens in the US. And I think there's so much potential from a partnership on our side to learn from these new startups, and then also just super inspiring for us to think about how we could take these learnings back to our day-to-day and think about partnerships beyond just media.
Absolutely, you're right. Since you were here last year, as you mentioned, what are sort of the biggest changes or the biggest trends that you are seeing this year?
I don't know that I've yet seen significant changes, but I would say that a trend that's continued that I think we have to think as marketers of how do we tap into this is this sense of consumers taking health in their own hands. And you see all this technology that suggests that they may not be going to their healthcare practitioners as they once were. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean from us from a marketing standpoint, from HCP marketing, or how do we get ourselves in there if these consumers are going to be going direct to tech? I think we have to crack that code.
Absolutely, and you're right. We've just seen a lot of at-home diagnostic tools, a lot of wearable techs which empower people to take control of their health from the comfort of their home. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then lastly, what are you the most excited about, perhaps to see in the rest of the tour or later during your time here?
I'm a sports guy, so when I saw the sports and lifestyle stuff, I'm very interested to see that and see the advancements there from a consumer standpoint. So excited to check that out and see what they have.
I guess there's even a pickleball court behind the ARP tour, so we gotta try this. We'll see you guys after the
I'll see if I still have it. Let's go throw the ball around.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
we're super excited today to premiere Shapeshifting. So Shapeshifting is our original creator-led serialized content series that's focused solely on GLP-1s and the widespread impact that they're having across categories, across culture, across health, all of it. So I'm Dan Rubin, Group President at Havas Health. Happy to be here with Lars Bengston, who's our Chief Content Officer at Havas Health, and Kevin Grosch, who's the CEO of Maiden Network. We partnered with Maiden Network on this for good reason. So Maiden Network is a creator media company. They've produced some of the most impactful creator-led content series that are out there. And what's especially great about them is they not only know how to propel creator content, they know how to integrate brands into that content.
Thanks, Dan. And it's in this very spirit that we introduce to everybody Shapeshifting. It's first thing I'll say about this is it's not very commonplace to have a major advertising network, a creative company, investing in its own original IP. Usually this is something that we package and present over to our partners because that's the core of our business. But as we recognize our leadership position being the biggest health network in the world, but also having this creative prowess, we thought it was the responsible thing to do to not only publish facts, myth-busting, and entertainment in the form of an original YouTube series, because that's where people are getting their information, but also show the industry and our partners, both in health and outside of health, what good content looks like and how to build audiences from the ground up. So with Shapeshifting, this is an original series exploring GLP-1s as a cultural shift.
So Kevin, I mean, this is what you guys do all day. Would love to hear your perspective on how you've seen other brands integrate into creator-led content and how that might look here.
Yeah, I mean, we collectively have been thinking about this as if we're a creator, right? We're building this with a point of view, with an expertise, to build a platform to share this content. And as Dan said, these are early days, but we're really excited at the momentum that it has, and we're confident that's going to continue to grow, knowing that the catalog of episodes is growing and the audience is growing with it. And just as any creator does as they start to accumulate an audience, as they start to build a community that is following what they're doing, they look for partners to help propel that forward. And most oftentimes for creators, that starts with one simple area, which is kind of a native integration into a pre-programmed episode. They have an episode that's coming out, and they have a partner that's coming in to sponsor those episodes. But as time goes on, we've done a lot of incredible work with brand partners to incorporate them in ways that go well beyond just this episode's brought to you by. We've done so many interesting programs where we're actually working alongside the brands as creative partners to help share their point of view, to accomplish their specific objectives in a space. And I'll talk more specifically about kind of the different categories or different types of ways we work with partners, but I wanted to share two quick examples with you so you could see kind of how that comes to life. So the first is a program that we've run for a long time now with Rocket Mortgage, and with their focus being how do they educate audiences around the home buying process long before they're actually at the point of securing a mortgage. What all goes into it? What's your credit score? Why does that matter to the process? All these really basic, essential questions they wanted to be able to answer, not only in their own programming as a publisher or creator themselves, but actually also out into the world integrated into creator programming. And so we actually launched with them a whole series of programs with creator talent, where we were asking creators at different stages of their home buying process, whether it was a newlywed couple buying a home together for the first time. They happened to be a massive creator couple who shot their whole world in their home, so we could document that whole process and show that as part of what they're doing. Or when a celebrity chef that we represent wanted to develop a new kitchen and they needed a construction mortgage to be able to build that out in a new way. We looked at with all these different touch points that were important for Rocket Mortgage, for when they knew people were in the home buying process or the mortgage, looking for a mortgage. And we found really compelling ways to integrate that naturally into programming that was organic to the creators' platforms and their audience. That was a wildly successful program, both from an integration standpoint and from an owned content standpoint for Rocket Mortgage. And it has been something that not only was able to reach consumers at those kind of purchase points, but also had a direct impact on their search rankings when people were typing in how to get a mortgage or buying a first home. Those were KPIs that were important to the campaign that we could develop through the process.
For those that don't have 20/20 vision, that says number 6 to number 2 in SEO. Oh. I could barely read that from over here.
Oh, perfect. I'm glad it's behind me. The other example that I wanted to give, maybe a little less high profile in terms of the brand, but was a really cool company that we've been working with over this past year called Danish Creamery. They are a high-end butter company, the best type of partner to be working with. And what was really interesting about Danish Creamery is that their objectives to be able to was primarily brand awareness. They're kind of a new entrant into many of the consciousness of these food-loving consumers, and they wanted to do it in a way that was authentic to their brand. And what we didn't want to do is just the kind of the first part of the process was having the butter show up in a ton of different food programming across the internet. But then we wanted to go deeper. We wanted to actually we sat down with Danish Creamery and we asked them, what type of use cases are important to you? How can we do something more than that, this episode brought to you by and placing the product in the episode? And we were able to develop some really interesting series that we would not have done on our own that helped us with our talent develop series that have performed incredibly well and worked uniquely for Danish Creamery. And kind of tying that back to what we believe Shapeshifting represents, there's a world of content and topics that we could explore. And one of the areas that we think is really incredibly powerful in working with partners is to be able to align with where their point of view is on GLP-1s, and then how that could be more fully fleshed out in an episode, a series, or something more large scale across the Shape-Shifting platform. And that's probably a good transition to this next slide, where I'll kind of go back through some of these categories of ways that we're currently working with brand partners across our other channels and how we're thinking about doing that similarly with Shape-Shifting. So the first is kind of those head and tail host reads, as I mentioned. We have an incredible slate of episodes, some of which Lars was talking about earlier, that are coming out over the coming months that are perfect opportunities, in our estimation, for specific partners to be able to come in and to help tell that story alongside us. And in these host head and tail reads, we're often developing the language, the messaging for the host to communicate about that brand's participation. The stepping up from that is actually developing a custom episode together. How are we actually looking at a specific topic that might be really important to a particular partner, and how do we craft an episode in the aesthetic and the tone of the voice that the channel has developed already to bring that specific point of view to life? Then there is custom segments, and this could be across multiple episodes, kind of a reoccurring presence of a participating partner within the storytelling. Going back to the Danish Creamery example, Danish Creamery has become a reoccurring character in a lot of these food channels' publishing cadence because their audience knows that there's going to be a use case for butter, and there comes Danish Creamery, and it creates this really strong association between the information that is being delivered and then the affiliation of that brand partner. And then lastly, and maybe most interestingly, is this opportunity for full series partnerships. And this could be across a current slate of programming, but it could also be those specific points of view and perspective that could come to life in offshoots of kind of our main thread of programming. And this is where we can really go into interesting topics, very specific use cases, and allow us to just more fully explore really important areas that GLP-1s are opening up for the public.
Yeah, it's not lost on me. We've talked about butter a lot in a GLP-1 presentation. But, you know, we mentioned that there is no category that is untouched by this transformation, right? So Kevin talked through what the integrations could look like, but if you take it maybe just one step further and you look at travel, right? If there could be a custom episode or custom series on how weight loss changes travel, right? You look at beauty and fashion. That goes from aesthetics to high fashion to ready to wear day-to-day fashion, down to CPG, right? There is no shortage of focus right now on how CPG brands are looking to enter new businesses, to innovate within their businesses to serve these communities. So these are all ripe. These are three of many ripe categories where a brand or a business does not have to have a pro or con position on GLP-1 to integrate into this platform, because this is agnostic. This is fact-based, credible content where we're just laying out the facts in an entertaining way. So we think the possibilities are endless. And ultimately, we built this because we believe, back to the start, this is the biggest health transformation that we've seen and maybe we'll ever see if you look at what the projections are. And we believe it's an opportunity now. There's an inflection point. We could shape or be shaped. And we chose to enter the conversation, and we look forward to continuing to build on this. And hopefully a year from now, we're coming back and talking about all the brand integrations that we've developed. So
come talk to us afterwards. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
So we just finished the Shapeshifting panel. We went head-to-head with the Delta keynote over at the Sphere. I think we won out.
We won out in intimacy.
It was an incredible panel, great discussion about Shapeshifting, which is our creator-led content series about GLP-1s. We're just at the beginning, but I think we're doing okay so far.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not commonplace for a creative, massive media company, communications company to be investing in content for ourselves, but as leaders in the health space, as leaders in the creative space, and as creative stewards for our clients that are meant to guide them on where the audiences are and how to reach them, building a original content series about such a topic was just a no-brainer. It's pretty awesome. I mean, we've seen just 3 weeks, we've seen over 75,000 hours watched. We've seen an average of 5 minutes and 30 seconds time spent on the episodes, which for those that don't know is actually doing numbers compared to the industry average, and over 1.5 million views. So I think
Lars is still pitching. We finished the panel. Lars is still pitching, which is wonderful.
I need to run a
lot. But in all seriousness, we're really excited about where this thing is headed. We've got a lot of interest from partners, from other potential clients, and I think we have a bright future with Shapeshifting. There's a long road ahead, but like Lars said, the early data is phenomenal, and we're excited to build this out and see where we can take it.
And if you're, whether you're a health company or you're in CPG, whether you're in travel, whether you're in, give me another industry, anything. There's not a single, retail, fashion, there's not a single spot that is not touched by the GLP boom, by the massive weight loss revolution, by all the effects that are happening afterwards. So we're happy that the content is resonating with people. We are hoping that we can get in touch with all you guys and have a conversation.
The early numbers are incredible. So do you want to talk just a little bit about what we're seeing from an engagement perspective?
Yeah, we're super, super happy that we didn't have to go on stage and fudge some numbers. They speak for themselves. About 75,000 hours of content watched across 3 episodes. We've designed them to be long form in nature so people could stay as long as they want on that topic. They're spending an average of 5 minutes and 30 seconds on each episode. That's 2 minutes above any sort of YouTube industry benchmark. And that's culminating to about 1.1 million views and counting just across 3 episodes. We've got 6 more coming out.
Yeah, so what that means for the future, right? We built this on our own. What this means is we built a massive addressable audience who's engaged in this content. So as we start to identify and integrate brands into this discussion, there's an audience built in, right? So we've created not only something on spec that might work, it could be good, we have proof that this is an impactful platform, and as brands start to come on board, that's the stuff we can't ignore, right?
Yeah, and we have to recognize too that the GLP-1 conversation, while as exciting as it may be, is terrifying for a lot of brands. It's very polarizing online. There's a lot of opinion, there's a lot of fact, you don't know which is which. We've sought out to do that homework for our partners. We launched this, we're building this audience, it's growing and growing every single day. And what we wanted to do is strive to create a really safe environment for brands to be able to inject their perspective in a factual manner that is still at the same time entertaining.
Yeah, and I think an important point, this could be a polarizing topic, right? If you're online for a minute, you see it, right? You have people who are fully supportive, you have people who are against it, there's shame, there's all these things happening. This was not built to sell GLP-1s. Right. This is a credible, fact-based exploratory of this transformative moment and what will become a transformative era in healthcare and in culture. So as brands are thinking about engaging and potentially integrating into this platform, this isn't about being for GLP-1 or against. You don't need to take a position like that. This is really about getting the facts out into the world and joining the conversation.
Okay, great. We're back on the floor with Richtech Robotics, and we have the CEO, Matt Colella, here. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Tell us a little bit about Richtech Robotics. Talk us through what we see behind us and your incredible technology and platform.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by, Ben. So Richtech Robotics is a hospitality and service sector robotic company that's powered by AI to really bring these amazing solutions to the general public, whether it's in coffee shops or hotels or hospitals. Many different applications. We have a full portfolio of products that we can go through here and really disrupting the hospitality and service sector.
So Matt, you have these units deployed now, right? These are out in the world.
There are. We have over 300 robots currently deployed across the United States throughout our full portfolio, which includes cleaning robots, AMRs, autonomous mobile robots, delivery robots, and then what we refer to as our production line. So our main robot there is Adam, and we also have our Scorpion robot as well.
So talk us through these models in a little bit more depth. What are you trying to solve for here? What's their unique abilities?
So I think what's core about our belief at Richtech Robotics is that robots are really here to allow operators of any business to utilize their human capital more robustly and develop closer relationships with their customers while allowing robots and AI solutions to take care of some of the menial tasks that really kind of take away from that human experience that these employees are trying to have with their customers.
Love that. One of the ways that we've been thinking about AI is enhancing consumer experience, enhancing customer experience, and it's enhancing employee experience as well here.
Absolutely. I think that's so crucial to us. I think the hospitality sector specifically has been behind the curve in some respects because hospitality operators are so careful with the experience that they want for their guests to have, right? So they really want to have full control over that experience. And so it's taken a little while for the robotics and AI industries to catch up to allow operators to really feel comfortable incorporating these solutions in their guest experience, right? And it's got to enhance and it's got to improve the guest experience. Otherwise, it would certainly be a distraction, right? Yeah. And so we believe that this, through our current portfolio as well as our growing portfolio of products, we're able to do that in a great way for our customers.
Okay, so I just actually realized I don't have a pen on me, and you offered
well,
to show us
you're in luck, Ben. Hang on one second. Let's step right over here. And we can watch Scorpion retrieve a pen, place it on our Maitre D Plus, and then deliver it back over to you where you were standing.
Let's see it. Let's go.
Right, let's go. Here we go. So Scorpion's demonstrating how well it can reach out and retrieve a fine object like a pen, place it on our Maitre D Plus, who will make a delivery back over to Ben.
And just like that, there's my
there
pen.
You go.
I mean,
precision.
What
right?
an incredible demonstration of the precision.
Absolutely. Our robots are interacting with people. The general public, people who aren't dealing with robots every day, will start to see robots, interact with them, be served by them, and hopefully have their experiences improved by them.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a demo of this now, and I think this is going to be really important for brands and customer experience in the future, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's another thing that's so exciting about putting this power in the hands of hospitality and service sector operators, right? They're a very creative, resilient bunch, right? Their whole focus is on creating experiences, whether it's in a restaurant or at a hotel. The whole business is creating an experience, And now with the power of robotics and new AI solutions, they've opened up a whole new toolkit for them to provide brand new, really award-winning services and experiences for their guests.
I love that. These kind of real-world robotics are the core of customer experience for the next decade.
Absolutely. I think something that we all experienced through the pandemic was kind of the stripping away of a lot of the experiences that we expected when we would go out to eat or go stay at hotels, and that was a necessity. We had to, right? And so that's disrupted the labor model in those businesses. So now I really believe that through the power of robotics and AI, they can start to incorporate these new solutions and really enhance the experience that they're able to offer their guests.
I love that. Enhancing customer experience, enhancing employee experience with these fantastic Adam and his fantastic colleagues next to him. These are out in the world today. We're going to see more of it. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and showing us a little demo.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mike, you just come off the floor. I know you got your steps in, right?
Yeah,
that's a terrible joke. But what did you think? What was your first impression? What was your last impression?
Yeah, it was my first CES, and you did an amazing tour taking us through. I think it's great to see the advancements in technology and how they can relate to everyday life and integrate with, Saucony running shoes, whether it's the sensors at Bosch that we were seeing or the hologram displays that we could use at events or in stores. Just so much great stuff, and it really gets you thinking about what you could do in the future and how you can use AI in different ways and integrate that within customer experiences or products or just the way people consume media and how that's going to change over the years.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what blew your mind? What do you want to remember when you leave the floor?
I think the AI robots blew my mind. Just how they can engage and follow your eye movement, and you can talk to them and they interact, and just seeing that, I think in person in real life is really game changing or mind changing. Or
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a wonderful guest. Can't wait to see what's happening next, and well, there's lots to see at the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
No, thank you guys. This was great.
Awesome.
So I am here with Anthony Capone, Chief Operating Officer of Myant, to tell us a little bit about Myant and these incredible products that you've just seen. Anthony, tell us about Myant.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. I love talking about Myant. We're so happy to be here. This gives us the opportunity to show to the entire community, this entire health tech community, what it's like to do clinical grade, multimodal, continuous prevention. Continuous prevention. We believe that you can live younger, longer by prevention through precision medicine. Prevention through precision medicine. That's the key.
So this is incredible. I mean, we're seeing clinical grade products, these incredible consumer fits as well. These don't look like the clunky models we've perhaps been used to seeing in health tech. And also it does so much more than some of the kind of more, single-use, discrete use cases we're seeing on the floor. This is really a platform and a system, right?
That's right, that's right. Both of those things are important. The fact that it is a wearable, that you have the ability to be a full interface, like a new skin, is critical because some people don't like watches, some people don't like rings, some people can't afford a $900 watch, some people can't afford the ring, but we all wear clothes. Clothes are universal, and so let's have a universal interface so that all people of all socioeconomic statuses can benefit from smart, intelligent biometric readings. But then in addition to that, the key is multimodal. It's not just being able to get one signal or be able to look at one part of the body. You need to have a comprehensive view of the body because most people have multiple diseases or are at risk of multiple diseases. And we're not about managing the disease, we're about preventing the disease at Myant.
And to have that kind of preventative experience, it needs to be this great product. And looking at the products, they are these really comfortable, wonderful things for people to wear. We talk a lot actually about convergence and many things coming together. And this is a great example. The work you do, you're a materials company, you're an AI company, you're a health tech company. So maybe tell us a little bit about that, and then we can kind of see that come to life in a demo.
Yeah, well, the foundation is the materials. Yeah. So in our 180,000 square foot facility in Toronto, we manufacture and invent our own materials. And then we'll take those materials and we might do something like extrude them into yarn, and those yarns are conductive. Then we can knit those yarns ourselves, and that's how we get these type of garments. And those garments, now that they're conductive and clinical grade, we can do things like ECG or respirations. We can do things like core body temperature. But we package it all together, vertically integrated. We do it all. But then there's obviously the software component. What do you do when you have this massive amount of multimodal data? What do you do with all that data? Well, our software team and our data analytics team, we have hundreds of people, so many PhDs, that are specialized in biomedical signal processing. And being able to take those signals and know exactly how to interpret them, that's key, because that's what is important for a doctor, for a clinician. That's what's important in order to intervene. And that's how you have prevention. You have continuous monitoring, but continuous intervention. So continuously guiding to have a disease not become a chronic disease.
So maybe we can see that in action and you could talk us through it.
Yeah, well, we start with the textile, of course. So you're looking at right here is some examples of our product. We have one right now, which is the first ever product that does 3-lead clinical grade ECG with ambulatory blood pressure.
Wow.
All in one device.
All in one device.
All in one device. Same exact device that you have the ability to do that. Now, in that same device, you're also knowing what your posterity is, and that's critical, because how do I know when to do the blood pressure reading? You should be standing still. You shouldn't even be talking. Well, how do you know that? We know that, right? How do you have the ability to be able to get your 3-lead ECG, but be able to get rid of artifact and motion artifacts? Well, you know because you have your accelerometer. But it's also really important to know what your core body temperature is, and it's important to know what your HRV is. It's important to take all of these together, because what you're trying to do is not monitor signals, you're trying to deal with heart failure. And how can I handle that heart failure? You do that by looking at the comprehensive amount of the body. What really is differentiating is, imagine a world where, and this is now possible because of generative AI, you can take all the biometrics of the body, continuous over time, and you can say, using this data against a large language model that has the whole corpus of humanity, all the scientific knowledge base that's ever existed, why is this information important? What is all of this information? This trending ECG, this blood pressure, this temperature, this gait analysis, this amount of steps, the slowing of steps. Is this a progression of what disease? Well, guess what? There are millions and millions of scientific documents, peer-reviewed research, clinical case studies that indicate what this disease is and then how to treat it. We're not inventing how to treat the disease, but we finally have the data that can combine with our AI systems to know how we go about treating the disease. So practically, these connect over Bluetooth to your phone. So if I show right now, I can show you as an example. This right here is one of the phones. So I'm looking right now at my live ECG. Wow. Live ECG, 3-lead ECG. But in this same thing, in this same application, I have the ability to see my blood pressure. I have my blood pressure that's recorded every 15 minutes. What is my core body temperature at that time? I have a symptom, I log the symptom in here. And when I log that symptom, and then it asks me more information, if I have an arrhythmia, now it starts to correspond what I was doing with what was happening with my ECG morphology. Well, that's critical, because now what I've identified is the trigger for, let's say, my AFib, which now allows me to avoid that trigger. Your trigger might be, if you don't sleep right and you don't drink enough water, the likelihood of you getting AFib is greatly increased. So now what do? You sleep a little bit better, and you make sure you're hydrated. And now all of a sudden, you no longer have AFib, and you dramatically decrease your risk of stroke. That's how we help people to live younger, longer, by taking something which is a disease and changing it so it's not a chronic disease.
I mean, this sounds, just definitionally transformational for preventative measurement, but also health tech, right?
I would say that it is a transformation in the way that society manages their own health.
So let's look into that a little bit. I mean, what does the future hold for this kind of technology? I mean, we should come back to say, by the way, this isn't just something you wear for a day. These are comfortable enough to do the kind of continuous monitoring you just saw there, right? These are clinical grade devices that can do that.
That's right. It's clinical grade, but you're able to wear it all the time. I wear mine all the time because you're able to see all of your biomarkers. You're able to see all of this information. You're able to look at your respiration rates, but your posterity. You're able to look at your O2 set. You're able to combine all of your devices together to get a holistic view of the body. For me, what that means is that finally, we're going to be able to, when something is indicated that's wrong, as early as possible, you begin to intervene. Intervene and take those decisions, and everybody can have access to it. Because a normal, let's just say a single device that wants to do arrhythmia detection, right? Single device, clinical grade, which they call a Holter monitor, an adhesive patch that they stick right onto and it rips up your hair and rips your skin open. Uncomfortable. $1,500 for one of those. Wow. But our device with the pod and everything, $100 in cost.
And of course, with the traditional devices, you may be changing your behavior. As you were saying, this is managing all of those other signals. You can continue your normal behavior, and you can get that richness of data for real early intervention and preventative changes in medicine.
Right. That's right. But it's only really possible because it is multimodal. It's because when this happened, I also knew what my blood pressure was. I knew if I was sitting, if I was standing, and I knew what my sleep was the night before, because we have all your sleep stages in here. So with this same exact product, I can tell you whether or not you're going to have sleep apnea, whether or not, knowing your sleep stages, what time you should wake up. You can go in and you can say, okay, I want to fall asleep, or I want to wake up, or I have to wake up for work between 6:30 and 7. Well, what's the optimal time? Well, we'll wake you up. It's 6:45 because that's when you're coming out of REM.
So what does this mean for the future of healthcare and the future of brands? I mean, this is, to a sci-fi geek like me, this is incredible because it feels like if you've ever watched Star Trek, the tricorder in Star Trek, but somehow more advanced than the 24th century. So, hey, we're already there. But this is going to be quite a change for folks taking agency of their own health. We did some work this year around our meaningful brand study, where consumers are increasingly feeling more agency, more ability to take control. You have this platform with this richness of data that is a clinical product, but gives consumers, gives patients access to this data. That's going to mean a big change, right?
Yeah, it is. It's not only a big change for you and the way you interact with your own body through this closed loop system, but also all of this data transmits in real time back to your physician. So now you can go and you start, and let's say right now, and this is part of the demo, is you would go in and you do a telehealth visit. Yeah. Today you've done a telehealth visit before, right? You do a telehealth visit. Do they have any diagnostic ability over you? None. They're just asking you questions. How do you feel? When did it start? More symptomatic information. What if while they were doing your televisit, in real time,
they had access to these diagnostics?
All day. They're looking at your ECG right now. And not only that, you called them because you had a symptom 4 hours, 6 hours earlier, right? You got on a telehealth visit, they replay and they go back to what it was 6 hours earlier. They're looking at it. What does that do to medicine? How does medicine change? Today, medicine is, I get sick, I have a symptom, I go to the hospital, I see the doctor, they retest me, they try to diagnose me. After the fact, everything is post over the fact, missing the occurrence. Yeah. What if now, anytime you got sick, you were able to replay the moment of when the symptom occurred? And now all of a sudden you don't have to retest. You don't have to wait all of that extra time. You had the ability to go and see exactly what was going on with your body. You have
a recording of your biomedical history for that moment and can kind of replay it and see what's happening.
It's an evolution of humanity.
It's an evolution of humanity. That is absolutely fascinating. I want to circle back real quick to your point about large language models and that side of AI. You suddenly have, in this evolution of humanity, the ability, as you said, to look at it against this huge corpus of knowledge to manage diagnostics at scale. So how's that going to change things?
Well, the key is you do signal to text. So you're saying, okay, all these signals and all these readings, when I put that into text, human readable understanding of what this biological, physiological state is, If I take all of that from a trending analysis, and then I compare that against something that was trained on all of the scientific clinical literature that exists, why is it important? What is it meaningful of, and what is it indicative of?
So, I mean, you know, it's not an abstraction layer so much, but you're foreseeing a future where in natural language, we have this kind of data explained to us in a way that we can understand, and it just supercharges perhaps that way of doing this kind of preventative healthcare.
Correct, because each one of those corresponds to what the treatment is. So it's not just displaying the data, but it's like, hey, we see you have this disease, what do you do next?
Incredible. Thank you so much for spending time with us. This technology is fascinating, and we're going to be monitoring it because it really is. It's changing the world for the better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the HAVAS Cafe here at CES, and to the billions that are streaming it live at home. I think that's approximately where we're at, right? I'm Eric Weisberg. I am the Global Chief Creative Officer of HAVAS Health, and it is not, the irony is not lost on me that I'm a middle-aged guy moderating a panel on women's health. A massive passion of mine and all of us at HAVAS Health is the intersection of technology and innovation to improve people's lives. So creativity in the act of improving people's lives and longevity. That led us last year to a trend report called Superhuman that looked at product innovation, entertainment properties, and all of the things here at CES that were moving across the spectrum to increase people's longevity, improve their well-being. And one of the things that we noticed in writing Superhuman was that this technology, if it got in the right hands, had the opportunity to close long-standing health equity gaps. One of those largest gaps was in men versus women, and also in particular women of color. And that led us this year to doing a bunch of research along with my partner in crime, Chloe, here, about what's happening in the world of women's health, and where can technology and innovation make a difference. And we saw some startling opportunities that we're seeing a sea change. And that led us to writing Superhuman, which we're going to talk about today. So I guess the first question to all of you is, okay, 80% of decisions around health are made by women. How did we get here that women were ignored? And when we look at all of the innovations that we've seen in the Superhuman era, is 2025 the year that we start to come out on a better place? So Maggie, you want to start?
We need to design these medicines and these innovations with women in mind. Oftentimes they are excluded for reasons such as not wanting to include women who may get pregnant during the clinical trial or other kind of factors of that sort. But then we don't have the medicines that are designed for our women's needs. You know, we need to think about that more inclusively. And I think digital and tech can play a role because women often have very complex lives with many competing priorities. And to be included in a clinical trial, which often has lots of study visits, numerous appointments, it's hard to commit to 3, 4, 5 years on a clinical trial. So thinking about how we can use tech to monitor people at home, bring the clinical trial out of the clinics and into people's homes, and really kind of engage women where they are and start from the beginning. So we're designing medicines for women that we know work for women, and then bringing that through that life cycle so that we're encouraging them to understand that these medicines are designed for them, not just men.
So there are 4 chapters that are part of Superwomen, and I think it'd be good to dive into each one of those because they each are about a significant shift that's happening. And the first one is Super Optimized Her. And at the core of this is about living longer and living better through innovation. I think one of the interesting things that was an observation to me in diving into this, the generation that is being born today of young women will live to be 100. It also means that that's an amazing statistic by itself, but it also means that 50% of their lives will be lived in a post-menopausal state. What does this mean in terms of the product innovation that you're seeing here at CES and elsewhere?
Sure. I mean, listen, I think Gen Alpha living to 100, the first generation, and living to 100 well, right? I think the emphasis is it's not just the number, but like participating in life, strong and fit and well. But in addition to that, it's the most diverse generation of all times. It is the most technologically sophisticated. It will be the generation that grows up AI first. You know, all of the digital and social transformation, they just take that for granted.
Yeah.
And as a result of those things, again, hearkening back to the business, if you are a brand, you need to make sure that you are filling the gaps where they are. You're no longer in charge. And as a result, consumers, people, remember, they're people who we're targeting. They are going to go and they are going to find what it is that they need, where it is they need it, when they want it. Yeah. And health and wellness is destigmatized for these younger generations. You know, I think it started with trailing millennials, obviously Gen Z and Alpha, where they're like, listen, I want to talk about these things. You know, earlier we talked about the fact 5 years ago, no one would say menopause in mixed company, right? The fact that mental health and awareness about the challenges, that athletes are embracing that, people in positions of authority, right? Whether that be in healthcare or influencers or celebrities. I mean, listen, the consumer decides who the authority is and that they're open and not perfect. I think all of those transitions, it's the stone that has rolled down the hill, and it's just going to roll faster. So the more awareness around reproductive health, about menopause, about mental health, about living well, is just going to continue to consume a greater share of the conversation, as it should.
Yeah. Of the over $40 billion spent on VC funding of health tech, only 2% was focused in 2023 on women. You noticed a massive shift happen in the last 18
By the way,
months.
that number is just staggering. I mean, 2%. But like I said earlier, I think we're seeing not only the femtech market booming, it's going from 50 billion today to 177 billion in 2032. And what's interesting too is the speed of acceleration. So it grew 10 billion over the past 5 years, but it's projected to grow 120 billion in the next 10 years. So finally, people are realizing, and we're catching up.
Yeah.
So some of the most, I think, exciting innovations I've seen, and perhaps across the women's life stages, when it comes to fertility and reproductive health, lots of great progress all around when it comes to women's health.
Let's jump to the next chapter, which is the GLP-1 ecosystem. Maggie, you've seen through your career, scores of blockbusters. I feel like there is an interesting moment happening with these GLP-1s that start to cross barriers, even in your world of infectious disease, where long-lasting injectables, the number one barrier for entry was that people were afraid of the needles. I think we see that changing. We see evolution. It's touching everything in an interesting way.
No, absolutely. I think the GLP-1s have definitely opened the door and made people more receptive to injectables, but it helps us make healthcare a smaller part of people's lives, right? They don't have to remember to take that pill every day. They could take the medicine and forget about it.
I think one recurring theme, and we built a whole chapter of the report around, was the woman as chief medical officer. Like, we've talked about the burden of her personally getting the care that she needs, but what keeps coming up is the burden that she has for kids, for her parents, for even friends, the growing scope of what women do to really control the totality of the medical system is unending. And you've looked at this quite a bit in your report, and I want to put up a graphic here, which you really dove into the specifics of what this burden looks like.
Whether or not the woman is the chief medical officer, people need to be talked to in a way where they feel educated. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of hyperbole in the language, to sell people more things. And I do think that clearly articulating so people feel informed, they feel in control. We as brands and agencies have the opportunity to do that and become a trusted resource. But you can't do that by talking to her only on one side of the coin and not representing and respecting the other side.
Yeah. Our last chapter is about welltainment, and it is about the intersection of education and entertainment and getting back to where we started, which is how do we use creativity in new and different ways to close the health equity gap. And I think one of the things that we look at with welltainment is how we use long-form content, episodic television, gaming, music, and more to sort of break down these barriers. And I think particularly going to your area of expertise, which is in HIV, and this surprising explosion of HIV to women in the South. And I start to wonder, what is the role that brands can play? What is the role that different forms of content and entertainment can be to close the health equity gap?
No, absolutely. HIV is often thought of as a men who have sex with men kind of disease, but actually 20% of the new infections are in Black women and Black women in the South. And we've seen over the course of history that oftentimes Black women in the South have been neglected as a group where we haven't focused on healthcare issues, and there are a lot of comorbidities amongst this group. A lot of the campaigns that we have put out there are often not necessarily how Black women in the South want to receive information, right? And we've tried to use the same materials, the same messages globally, and they haven't resonated. Yeah. And so we really think that there is an opportunity to change how we think about this and how we get them engaged, how they receive healthcare. We talked about this a little bit earlier, how they get information. They want to see somebody who looks like them. They want to hear it in language that they understand. And we had to redesign the whole campaign. We went to different kind of events. We looked at different websites. We looked at doing outreach in so many different ways, and you know what? It worked. Because once you think about and bring the voice of the customer into the center of all your design, you will make a difference. You will have a huge impact.
All right, well, we'll wrap things up. Thank you all for joining me up here today. Thank you to everyone that played a huge part in doing this research and writing this amazing report. I hope you'll all have a great CES. I hope you'll join Chloe or myself on a tour of the floor and see these innovations in action over at the Venetian, and have a great day. All right, so we just got off the Superwomen panel. We had an amazing discussion about the future of women's health, about how this new era is about shifting what has previously been an ignored space in spite of 80% of health decisions being made by women, medical gaslighting, poor representation in leadership, extraordinarily low representation in clinical trials has fundamentally held women back from living the healthiest, longest lives as possible. I think we're seeing a shift here in 2025. Chloe, you and I walked the floor yesterday. We saw more femtech, more investment in women's health than ever before. What are you most excited to go back and see again? What conversations are going to continue after today?
For sure. Well, first off, I'm super excited to see that between what we read to produce this report and the reality of what we're seeing in the floor, that it's a dream come true. It's no longer theoretical, but it's actually happening. Finally, investors, business, and governments are acknowledging the need to invest in women's health, and you're seeing that throughout a wave of startup and innovations, not only at the floor and CES and beyond. So we've done tons of really great stuff with perimenopause and menopause and maternal health and fertility, all things that I think will really benefit women's well-being in the long term.
Yeah. Maggie, you're a practicing physician in the infectious disease space. You lead innovation for ViV Healthcare. And this is not your first time at CES. And I think one of the things you and I talk about is about all of the things that you see here across health and other sectors that inspire you to think about what's next. What are you excited to sort of see to inspire you to think about what's next?
Well, I'm excited to be here at CES because the what's next is here, right? Like, here is where we get inspiration, and we need to, in the healthcare sector, look beyond just the digital health tech that's out there, but really look at the automotive space. What's going on in new AI technology to help support communications and advertising, and home, you know, what's going on in the home, and how are we using those digital tech tools at home to really kind of change the way we live and our well-being. So I'm really excited to see everything that's here, not just the digital health technologies, but I think this is going to be a great conference.
You're going to pick your next car, your next television before you leave here today too?
Maybe, but I'm definitely going to get inspired by them and bring all that technology back into the health sector. That's what I can tell you for sure.
All right. I feel, Chloe, like we're seeing a turning point, right? That just a couple of years ago, only 2% of VC funding was for women's health. That feels like that's changing. What do you see?
Yeah, there's a merge of a couple of factors that are driving change. There's society that's finally acknowledging the need for change. Women are being more vocal in wanting equity and wanting a healthcare system that's tailored to their needs. You've got governments that are acting on this subject and creating women's health initiatives like the President Biden just did in November 23 that is meant to close some of the disparities in women's health research. And then you've got VC and innovators and startups that are identifying that this is like a crucial economic market, that there's a lot of lucrative potential also from a business standpoint to address, and are investing in creating the greatest and latest technology to support women's needs. So all of these factors are really creating this mature and this right moment for significant change in the women's health space.
Yeah. I feel like you've been working in the healthcare space for a while, and it has been a very medical-led discussion. We were just talking about the shift to experiential parts in health, how every brand is a health brand. Talk about the health experience that you're hoping to go see. There's an immersive thing just down the street.
Yeah, no, health is becoming more personalized. With all this different technology and all the new AI tools, we're bringing health into the home. And by doing that, we're empowering women to be better controllers of healthcare for themselves and their families, right? So there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I'm really excited to see what people are doing with AI right now and what people are doing with the tech that's available to really bring healthcare into the home and personalize healthcare, not only for the individuals, but to help manage communities.
All right. What are you up to next?
I'm about to head out on the floor at the digital health space, taking some of our favorite clients on a tour and showcasing some of the greatest innovations that we talked about earlier today.
Maggie, where are you off to?
I'm going to follow Chloe, which is...
Good decision.
Exactly, because she's going to take me to all the best highlights here at CES. And then later today, I'm going to View Studios to have an immersive digital health experience. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think I'm just going to follow along with you guys. All right, thanks for being here. Have a great CES.
Thanks.